Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Mma Analyst here to do my predictions video for UFC 121. Better late than never. This EA MMA game's got me playing all types of hours, tired as hell, and completely effed up my schedule for this video. But in the future, actually, I will be, I'm going to be getting these videos out a week in advance, so that's good. But this one here, just a few hours in advance. But hey, like I said, hit me up. Bill Carson 2112. Xbox. Get tapped. Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez. Let's discuss this real quick. Number one, I've been pretty fair with Brock. When he first came into the mixed martial arts scene, I said he's going to do good. I said he's going to be a beast. When he fought Frank Mir, I said, that's too much. Too much too soon. And I was right. He lost. But from that fight, I said, oh, damn. This guy is for real. From the loss. From what I saw in the loss. And with Frank Mir needing that Yves Levine intervention, I said, whoa. This guy's a monster. When he fought Heath Herring, I said, Heath Herring's going to get smashed. I said, Heath Herring, with all of his experience, has nothing for this 2-in-1 fighter. Or for this 1-in-1 fighter. That's what I felt. And he got smashed. And then this 2-in-1 fighter got a title shot a little early. And probably all because of his, fame from wrestling. But whatever. I still said this 2-in-1 fighter is going to be too much for Randy Couture and all of his, all of his history and all of his abilities. Yeah, I was right. But then when I saw the kind of trouble he had with Randy Couture, and based on what already happened with Frank Mir, I said, you know what? He's going to lose to Frank Mir again. I was wrong. And then I said, wow, with this Shane Carwin cat as big as he is, with all of his abilities and strengths and powers in his punches, not power, I mean powers, like superpowers. Shane Carwin is going to probably defeat Brock Lesnar, unless Brock Lesnar can take Shane Carwin's punching. I just didn't think he could. He did. And he won that fight. I've been very fair with Brock Lesnar. So let's keep that in mind when we go forward here. Brock Lesnar coming into this fight against Cain Velasquez. 5 wins, 1 loss. 1 loss was Frank Mir. He has not been the overbearing powerhouse when it comes to just one man against another man and just being able to just pick dudes up and throw them all over the place. But that hasn't been needed. But let's remember, against Randy Couture, 10 years older, 60 pounds lighter. He was not able to just say, get over here, old man. And I know that Randy Couture has got some good wrestling, but he wasn't able to do it. So I don't think that he'll be able to just do that to Cain Velasquez. I think the key to defeating Brock Lesnar at this point in his career is solid striking, aggressive attack, and then being able to stuff the takedown attempt that Brock Lesnar will do off of like a fear, like a reaction. Uh-oh, I'm getting swarmed on. I gotta get a takedown. If you can stuff that takedown, if you stand there and say, all right, come try and take me down, you're going to get put on your back. But if you're throwing punches at him and he says, oh, damn, the way he kind of tucked and ran the last time and says, oh, a takedown attempt, and you're ready to stuff that takedown attempt, I think you'll be all right. Cain Velasquez, with his wrestling pedigree, he's not exactly the smallest guy. He's got a good background. Also, his strikes, we saw what happened to Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Now, we know that's not the same chin from back in Pride, but whatever. He's able to take a punch. We saw what happened. Well, he can't afford to take the kind of punishment he took from Chet Congo. Because if he gets knocked like that from Chet Congo and tries to do a zombie takedown on Brock Lesnar, he's going to wake up under some nasty ground and pound KO type stuff. But the point is, I believe the situation is this. You've got Cain Velasquez. He's got better striking. He can go 25 minutes. We know he can go 15. I don't think Brock Lesnar can go 25. even though he is smaller than in the past. In the past, he used to cut down from 295 pounds to 300 pounds to 265, and then he put on like 20 pounds of weight overnight. 20 pounds, just get that water weight back and just eat, and he'd be all right. Now he's walking in at 265. He just got to go, take a quick deuce, and 265, he's there. He'll still be bigger than Kane. He'll still be taller than Kane, and he'll still have a serious reach advantage on Kane. But the reach advantage is a one knockout hopeful punch as opposed to Kane, who can move his head and actually get in with some peppering punches. So stand-up advantage, Kane. Stamina and cardio, Kane. Wrestling, well, that goes to Brock based on his other two things, which are size, strength. And I guess if you want to go speed, since he's so damn big and he's still fast, maybe give the speed advantage to Brock Lesnar too. But really, it comes to what Brock Lesnar's always been good at. Is just he's good at being big, strong, and fast and learning quick. But I think that with Cain Velasquez swarming on him, stuffing takedowns, taking the fight a little further than we'd expect it, or some people would expect it to go, taking it to the late stages of the third, going into the fourth round. That kind of sounds crazy saying it, but I think that's how Cain Velasquez wins this fight, being able to maintain cardio, maintain control, and end up finishing this fight by TKO. At least that's what I see. Jake Shields versus Martin Kampmann. Martin Kampmann coming off of a beautiful win over Paulo Thiago. Just able to just nullify his jiu-jitsu, stop the takedowns, outstrike him, just really control every aspect of the game. Beautiful fight before that. Pretty rudimentary, simple win over Jacob Volkman, who is still surprising me though. And then a loss by TKO to Paul Daly, somebody who should have just went out there and taken down, but instead decided to sit up against the cage and get slammed on. Jake Shields, he's got his win over Dan Henderson at 185. Jason Mayhem Miller, Robbie Lawler, Paul Daly, Nick Thompson, Mike Pyle. This is all, Carlos Condit, Yushin Okami. That's before his. That's all happened since his most recent losses of 2004. Jake Shields, is actually the real deal. We've known this for a while, but now we'll see just how real a deal he is. Is he top 5? Is he top 4? Is he top 3? We'll see. In this fight, all he needs to do is get this fight to the ground. I'm not saying that that's a simple thing, but I'm saying that that's something that he can do. When he gets it to the ground, he will control. He will control his fight. He has awesome wrestling, really good positional dominance when he gets into certain areas. If he puts you on your back, he's good. He likes to move from side to half guard, and well, not maybe that order, to mount. Just absolutely can control you, and I think that's what he's going to do in this fight. I have Jake Shields winning this fight by decision. I think Martin Kampmann is going to be a fight where he's like, man, I just can't do anything against this dude. That's obviously if he doesn't knock out Jake Shields within the first minute or two. If he does find a way to actually touch him and bust him up, then Jake Shields is going to be in a lot of trouble. But I think he'll be able to weather that potential early storm. He might even be able to completely sidestep the storm, let the storm go through over here, and he just comes over here and says, all right, let's get this fight to the ground. Diego Sanchez versus Paulo Thiago. Paulo Thiago, we already know, like I said, coming off that loss to Martin Kampmann. Before that, he had his 2 of 3 AKA victory thing going with his Darce choke to unconsciousness over Mike Swick. His other win over AKA guy was the win over Josh Koscheck, uppercut. Put him to sleep too. He also has a win over Jacob Volkman. And he lost to John Fitch. And again, he lost to Martin Kampmann. Diego Sanchez, the thing that used to work for Diego Sanchez so well is that he could always go 150%, 100 times, like just nonstop. Takedowns, striking. He wouldn't be the greatest at striking, but he would seamlessly weave them together, be able to get you on your back, damage from the top, moving from whatever position, control, beat down, nonstop. Yes, Yes, yes. Well, that changed at some point. He's not as good a fighter or as big a fighter as John Fitch, so we understand that loss. Josh Koscheck used his wrestling back in 2007 to shut that down. And other than that, he beat everybody else except for BJ Penn, who's just a better fighter and absolutely smashed him. And then the John Hathaway situation, which really got people thinking, what's going on with Diego Sanchez and what's going on with this John Hathaway cat? Anyways, he's gone back to Jackson submission fighting, and I think he's going to go back to his old ways. What are his old ways? Going out there 100% of the time, and this fight is all about who's shooting for the takedown. If Paulo Thiago's shooting for the takedown, I think he's winning the fight because he'll be controlling it against the cage and, using the tiring tactics, and people are like, oh man, I'm so tired. Pushed up against the cage, people defending, trying to get underhooks and whatnot for a minute at a time, and that kind of stuff. Not exactly the most exciting stuff, but that kind of stuff. Whoever's implementing that, whoever's shooting first, is the person who wins this fight, and I think that person is going to be Diego Sanchez, especially going back to his Greg Jackson roots. I think he'll be going back. I think he'll be going out there, shooting for takedowns, putting up against the cage, trying to get the takedown, push, end the round, second round, repeat, third round, repeat, victory for Diego Sanchez. Matt Hamill versus Tito Ortiz. Matt Hamill, coming off of his win over Keith Jardine, before that, his win over John Jones. He had a nice win over Mark Munoz, victory over Reese Andy, body blow loss to Rich Franklin, and another loss to Michael Bisping. So, really, when it comes down to it, his record really is 9-2. It's just that one of the losses is actually a win, and one of the wins is actually a loss. But he's still 9-2. It all evens himself out. I don't know exactly how that's going to work for John Jones and how he's going to get his justice. But anyways, Michael Bisping already got his justice, and that came by the way of Dan Henderson's fist and gravity. Matt Hamill, wrestler, striking, improving, young. As a whole, is he getting better? I can't say that I'm really seeing a massive progression. Obviously, again, we know what his strengths are. He's a solid wrestler. Also, there's a movie, Hamill, that came out, or it's coming out, based on Matt Hamill. Kind of crazy. Anyways, we know what's up with Matt Hamill. His striking, he's not going to come out and do anything too crazy and new. He's kind of leans and throws little punches, and he's got some half decent power, but he's not really knocking anybody out on that level of knockout artist. But wrestling, we know, is his thing. Tito Ortiz, Forrest Griffin loss, split decision, previous light heavyweight champion. Same thing with Lyoto Machida, decision lost. Rashad Evans drew against Rashad Evans, former light heavyweight champion. Chuck Liddell, former light heavyweight champion. He hasn't fought anybody other than a former light heavyweight champion in years. Was Ken Shamrock ever a champion? I don't think in the UFC. Anyways, Vitor Belfort was. Forrest Griffin was. So, man, I think you go maybe Patrick Cote back in 2004 is the last time he fought somebody who wasn't some type of serious champion at some point in their career. Anyways, the problem, though, is he's had one fight a year for the last 4 years. He's been injured every single time, told us he wasn't injured every single time, and then cried after, reminded us he was every single time, and it's just getting out of control. He has to have a win here. The problem is, I don't know if he's injured or not. If he loses, he'll tell us he is. You better believe it. Against Forrest Griffin, he had a fractured skull or something. In the Lyoto Machida fight, I think he had. Now I was gonna make some jokes and stuff, but I couldn't come up with it quick enough. The point is, he makes excuses like you wouldn't even believe. But I think he's going to be making up excuses again because against Matt Hamill, I don't think he's going to be able to just go out there and get these takedowns. If he is able to get the takedown and try and implement that ground and pound from inside the guard, that is his key to victory. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I think this is going to stay on the feet. Tito is going to do his little boxing. And he's going to shoot for takedowns. I think Matt Hamill is going to put him up against the cage. I believe basically Matt Hamill wins this fight. If Tito wins this fight, it's a good win for Tito. We can see what happens with him next. Anyway, you look at it, it looks like excuses are going to happen because I don't see him beating anybody. I don't see him beating anybody in the top 10, anybody in the top 12, whatever. If Matt Hamill wins this fight, good fight for Matt Hamill. Let's see what happens next, but same situation for him. So, in the instance of this fight, though, I'm going to go with Matt Hamill. Gabriel Gonzaga versus Brendan Schaub. Gabriel Gonzaga, after his nasty knockout of Mirko Cro Cop when he was 8-1, he's gone 3-4. With a loss to Junior Dos Santos by KO. No shame in that. A loss to Shane Carwin by KO. Again, no shame in that. Although, how it happened was a little shameful. He knocked down Carwin, got to side control up against the cage, and Carwin got back up and knocked him out once he was probably still in the daze. A second TKO loss to Fabricio Verdum. But in that fight, I think he gave up. But it didn't matter because Fabricio Verdum's the man. And then another, nothing to be ashamed of, loss to Randy Couture. He fought his ass off, got his nose broke, got smashed up in that fight. I think Randy Couture, though, got his arm broke, too. But the point is, he's been fighting some tough guys, and he hasn't had any big wins since. He has a win over Chris Terscherer. I think he busted his balls up worse than anybody's ever been hit. Josh Hendricks, Justin McCauley, those are his wins since his knockout over Mirko Cro Cop, and his losses are basically every ranked fighter. Brendan Schaub is not one of those ranked fighters. He has a loss to Roy Nelson. He also has a win over Terscherer. He is able to do it without groin shot. He has a win over Chase Gormley, and that's it. But Brendan Schaub's been talking so much junk. This has nothing to do with my pick. I'm just saying, talking so much junk about just the absolute, just being a company man to the nth degree with this. If you're not in the UFC, then you shouldn't be ranked top 5 or whatever, and just willing to talk about people and say things about other fighters that he really has no business even opening his mouth about. If you want to talk about Brock Lesnar, all right, whatever. But pretty much anything else, shut the F up and just fight, man. Just go out there and fight. The last guy that had this much mouth and this much talk at heavyweight was a homeboy that got knocked out in that 3rd round. What's that guy's? And he just recently got cut by the UFC. Man, what's that guy's name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. He's real big and muscular. And he has the fastest knockout in the UFC history. Then he came out and was smashing up this other dude who knocked him out and threw his little baby hammer fist at the end. My mind is completely on a blank. Drawing a blank. But y'all know what I'm talking about. And he's out of the UFC. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Brendan Schaub, but I don't see him winning this fight anyways. Gabriel Gonzaga is better striking, better on the ground. He's fought tougher competition. This is a definite step up in competition for Brendan Schaub, and I don't think he'll be able to take it. Court McGee versus Ryan Jensen. I'm going to go with Ryan Jensen. Tom Lawler versus Patrick Cote. I'm going to go with Patrick Cote. I'm going with Mike Guyman over Daniel Roberts. Sam Stout over Paul Taylor. Chris Camozzi, or I'm going to go with Dong Yi Yang over Chris Camozzi. And Madsen versus Gilbert Yvel. Is this it for Gilbert Yvel? Is this it? Is he out of the UFC after this fight? Jon Madsen, wrestler. I'm going to go with Jon Madsen taking down Gilbert Yvel and sending him back to Holland. All right, I'm going to get back on the EA MMA game, y'all. MMA, it's important. Peace.